Go!
Cambridge determined to stay with the Americans, certainly for the first part of this race. Stay with them, then see where it gets them. Important for Luke Juckett to steer carefully, and Cal have moved away off their station, and Matthew Pinson, the umpire, warning them there, and that's going to lose them a lot of time. Cambridge now had the chance possibly to steal some ground, and they're heading towards, very worrying, towards the boom now. This is a very ragged performance by the Americans so far. Cambridge too not finding it a particularly straight course, and that's not looking good at all.
They're looking good. They hit the boom.
They've hit the boom. Dear me.
And it's too late.
And that's, oh dear.
Cambridge had issues from the very start with their steering. Unfortunately.
If there was any off-cover language you heard there, you can understand it, but we apologise. But that race has been run extraordinary then, because Cambridge started sensibly, or straightly as you might say. Cal had veered off to the left, then they came back, and then Cambridge seemed to lose their bearings as well, and suddenly found themselves, here is the replay. That's like the Norwegian crew we saw yesterday, heading with intent without realising what was behind them.
Well, sometimes you lose your bearings when your opposition crew goes off station. If you're steering off them instead of the booms, you also lose steering. But as we talked about yesterday, it's the magnetism of the boom. It draws you in.
Luke Juckett well remembers a few years ago catching that crab, which caused all sorts of problems just before Hammersmith Bridge in the boat race, and that cost Cambridge any real challenge. Just as they were beginning to feel there was a chance, Oxford very strong under coach Sean Bowden, but it all went wrong, and it's gone wrong here too. So for Berkeley, who seem to be under pressure, having themselves made a poor start, they are now, well, this is not really a race, I'm afraid. It's no contest. It's been decided. Let's have a look at the start then. Let's just see this again, Sean. Talk us through it, because these are the key moments of the race now.
You can see Cambridge moves a little bit to the right. They're going towards the island. And also California's coming the same way. So they're both going off to the starboard side. And now Cambridge corrects, coming back. Cal hasn't figured it out. Matthew Pinson steering them. And then Cal just goes way off on a tangent. And that's difficult because in the Cal boat, the stroke man is steering. And Cambridge, perfectly set up, goes the opposite direction now.
They had that race, actually, just before they went off to the...
They had a good advantage
booms,
of having a straight course.
And there you see the long shot of exactly what happened. And then off went Cal, and the Cambridge crew had to extricate themselves from the posts, from the booms.
But what you see here, Jonathan, is the difference between rowing eights and rowing small boats. In the Y-folds, club crews, very talented in small boats, always row straight course. Here you have an American crew and a Cambridge crew always having a coxswain. So the boats are getting faster, and the oarsmen have less chance, less skill in steering. Now, by Sunday, they'll be steering well if they're still in the competition.
That said, what has happened has not been true to form, in the sense that I know Cambridge were very happy with the way the preparations had gone. Luke Juckett everything was flowing smoothly. They'd had a great result against the Dutch crew, which beat them last year, or earlier this season rather, and they now find themselves, well, the race is over within the first minute.
You
But
cannot...
that's racing. I mean, we
That's
know
racing.
that. Absolutely. No, you know, you can give away a penalty, you can drop a catch, you can miss a kick in front of the post, whatever it is, and suddenly the whole thing changes.
And that's the difference between training for rowing and racing. When you're racing a lot, you're doing the starts, and in a coxless four, the start is half of the race. Getting off clean, getting your crew an ability to feel comfortable. They're not worried about steering, they're worried about the other crew. You want muscle memory to take over, not 4 people in the boat trying to steer it. Unfortunately.
I think they wore those sunglasses because it was going to be bright on the water, but it also obscures the expression, because I would imagine they are all fuming. How frustrating is that? The impetus gained from starting this week strongly, and it's the same for any crew which has these incidents, but nonetheless, you know in your career the frustration where you've not done what you thought you were going to do, what you had planned to do meticulously. It's all gone wrong, and it's gone wrong so early, and so for the rest of the race you're there fuming, doing what you have to do to get to the end of the race, but it matters not a jot.
Not a jot. And you can double fault in tennis. You have another game, another set. In rowing, and especially in Henley, one mistake and you're out.
And that's what happened.
I mean, for them, it's Pim's time.
I think it may be stronger and longer.
But California needs this extra chance to row. They've only got together 5 days ago. In the California boat, you have one Dutchman who was in the winning boat last year, one American, a Dutchman in 3, and a Danish stroke.
So you can almost sense it from the crowd too, the momentum that we've built with these races. Even though we were watching some crews who'd cracked the opposition and for the second half of the race were in charge, you could still admire the technique and the way they delivered. Here for both crews, it's just frustration.
Yes.
This is a great event. They love coming here. They wanted to perform at the highest level, to go as far as they could, but they haven't.
They haven't.
Neither has covered themselves with glory. The crowd will respond, they'll lift them, but it's a case of what might have been particularly poignant for Cambridge, because they are exiting the competition here. They will not be racing at the weekend. For Cal, there's the chance to come again. And maybe those at the finish aren't aware of what's happened.
Oh, and I failed to mention about California, they're coached by a Canadian, Scott Franzen, who is a 3-time Canadian Olympian. That's more of an international boat than you would think.
That's a beep which just is irritating. How annoying is that?